before I've even begun. It's my first time presenting in front of so many people, so please be very gentle and clap really hard again at the end. Yes, hi, I'm Viktoriya. I'm a master's student here at Breda University of Applied Sciences, and I'd love to talk to you about my research project, the impact of real-time audio on actor performance quality in virtual production, where I hope to bring these real-time technologies and digital storytelling together. So I'll jump into a quick table of contents. I'll begin with a short introduction of myself and my background, what led me to pursue this project. I'll present to you what my research question is, what my data collection procedures looked like, and what I call here experimental productions, and some preliminary findings before closing off with some key takeaways. So, hi again. Last year, I completed my bachelor's in arts in international media entertainment management, and currently I'm doing my master of science in game technology here. And for the last 3 years, I've been working on various student virtual production projects with a specialization in sound engineering. And now I love virtual productions, and it's my passion, but it comes with its own issues as well. Open any book on film sound or game audio, and you will see the authors complaining how no one admits to the hard and diligent work that goes into cultivating a soundscape and how critical audio is to any audio-visual experience. This feeling of exclusion carries over in all aspects of the entertainment industry, and specifically there's a global research gap in virtual productions, especially audio when compared to other aspects such as cinematography and visual effects. And this is what Eric Rigney called the image-centric bias. He says, production sound is not afforded the same level of support or consideration. But why is that? Because it has been empirically proven that sound affects us in a myriad of ways, both positive and negative. For example, exposure to high noise causes annoyance, stress, poor sleep, increased blood pressure. And on the other hand, a lot of research supports the positive effects of music-driven therapy. But what is known on its impact on acting? Well, in her production, How to Be Good, our very own Jodie Nelson-Tabor found that real-time audio affected timing of actions and level of immersions in virtual environments. So based on that, I wanted to find out, how does sound affect the performance quality of the performer? With my research question, how do actors feel their performance quality changes when real-time audio is introduced during a virtual production using in-camera visual effects? And in short, through a series of practical experiments, I wanted to examine how do actors feel during a performance in virtual production with real-time audio versus without, and how they perceive their performance quality changes. Which leads me to my next slide, my experimental productions, because of course, in order to test that, I needed to create the perfect experimental setting for my actors. And like any good story, that begins with a script. And the script is very important here because it will give my actor the opportunity to show the emotional depth of their character when faced with a challenge. So I looked to research to find what is scientifically the best script to conduct my experiment with, when I came across this play by Jim Grimsley called A Bird of Prey, which was featured in a study by Panero and Winner in 2021. And they stated that for them this was a good choice because the script didn't contain any descriptive characteristics of the main character, and it fit for a wide variety of actors of all ages, gender identities, and ethnic and racial backgrounds. So the next step was to tackle the virtual environment. And another great feature of my script was that outside of naming the decade, which is the 90s, they didn't actually provide any descriptive information about where the scene was taking place. So I opted to go for an easily recreatable scene that would work with a limited budget and a limited prop supply. And I found this bistro restaurant environment on the Epic Games free marketplace, and I adapted it to fit for our stage here at BUAS. After that, it was time to match the physical environment with the virtual environment. So I used some tables, some chairs, and other restaurant props like a menu or a candle holder so that I can blend the two environments. And this is also the time where I set up my equipment like camera, lighting, and microphones. And for the star of the show, the real-time audio. Now, in order to set that up, I had to gain some additional equipment, one of those being a PC running the Unreal Engine project where a level sequencer was playing the sound effects. The PC was connected to a MIDI board, which allowed me to trigger the real-time audio playback remotely because we were working with a very small crew of 2 people. That was fed back through the recording mixer, which played it through the speakers that are sitting right here above you. So now that we have our stage, it's time to bring in our actors to test my experiment. We did 2 to 3 takes without the diegetic audio, which gave me the base for comparison so I can interview them later, before we introduced the real-time audio. Now, for me, it was very important to play a small snippet for them before we actually began shooting, because the pilot study that I conducted last year actually found that when the actors heard the real-time audio for the first time during the production, it startled them and it took them out of the acting performance. So in order to avoid that, they heard the audio exactly as it would be played for them during the shoot. And this is what they heard. It's very subtle, and it's supposed to be. It's supposed to give the ambiance of you sitting in a restaurant. So you can hear some people talking, chairs moving, plates and cutlery and glasses all clinking together. So basically a nightmare if you hate social settings. And with the filming wrapped, the actors were taken aside to be interviewed by myself on some predefined themes in a semi-structured interview, which typically lasted over an hour. These themes stemmed from existing literature, as well as the pilot study that I conducted last year, which were on the topics of dissociation, immersion, spatial awareness, state of flow, and technical limitations, and how the real-time audio affected these, if at all. And now, I know you're dying to see how the final results turned out. So I'm super excited to show you some snippets from my shots. And I do want to stress that these are only clips from the 4-minute-long takes where the actors would have the chance to interpret the monologue for their scene. So they're not representative of the final output. And we'll also hear the audio one more time so you can experience what they felt that day. So what were the results from my interviews? Well, they stated that it's different, more true, or more authentic. The actors recounted making conscious choices to change their performance due to the added real-time audio, serving for them as a tool for the actor to tell a real story. These changes were made because the story that was now being told in between the virtual environment and the audio layers was different, so they had to respond accordingly by changing, for example, the volume of their voice, their cadence, and certain facial expressions or body movements. This is to say that their performance, though not necessarily better, because quality is, of course, still very subjective, was different and more in line with the truth of their new reality. So if, for example, before they believed that they were sitting alone in a restaurant, now having been informed by the real-time audio, they realized that they weren't. And I want to leave you with some key takeaways from my presentation to highlight the practical application from my research. And that is, of course, inform your actors through the audio. This gives them the possibility to tell a more authentic story, and in the end, I do believe it will probably account for a better output. And this audio, of course, can be played before filming. I did this differently during my experimental productions for the sake of it being a research report, and I'm not tied to any studios or any real budget. But keeping that in mind, you can definitely play this sound for them before the shoot begins so that you can also preserve audio quality during your takes. And lastly, discuss with your actors scene motivation. They want to know what goes on in the character's head and what is your vision as a director or as a producer or as a sound engineer. They want to know all of that so that they can take it all in and give you a better performance. And that is why I want to leave you with this quote that is attributed to many people: Anthony Hopkins, Michael Caine, Alan Rickman, and even one of my own participants. Acting is listening. So why not let the environment communicate back? So I want to Thank you for listening.
Wow. Thank you so much.
And just to wrap it up, if you have any questions, please come and find me during the lunch break, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. And I'm graduating in about 2 months, so if you want a dedicated, motivated...
Go on, yeah.
I'm going to be free.
Thank you so much, Tori. That was absolutely wonderful.
Thank you so much.
And definitely a different take. It wasn't about your visuals, but it was about almost as important part of the chapel action. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
All right.